Test, 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 test. Okay, there should be audio now, right? Troy, every time you get on, I have no mic sound, so something just gets off, and I always test it, but the times I don't test it, it doesn't work. I have audio now, right? It looks like it. I have. Could you give me a little signature that I have audio if you're still here? Yeah. Yes, cool, thank you. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I have to really double check that all the time, because every time I don't check it, it doesn't work. And well, I could see it in OBS because I could see the numbers. But okay, let's get back to it. I was talking about the TGIF and how I incorporate the monthly into the weekly as well, when we have that, because we have the last day of the month today, Friday, and we've got our TGIF that is a specific ICT concept, which is if we have a weekly range and we have an expansion, and then Friday, obviously we have a candle, right? High, low, open, close. So we have an expansion to the upside, and then the candle will retrace after taking a specific level out back into the range. So for this Friday, it's a high probability we're going to get a very good TGIF. So yesterday I measured already the monthly range, and because those two, you will see when you calculate both, and at some point you will have a range that overlaps, and that is you can literally calculate or can see where the end of the day will go to. So yesterday I already calculated the monthly range, and those are the blue lines here, not the black ones. Just disregard this because that's the weekly for now, but that's going to change the moment we go up. So this is the monthly range, right? And you could see yesterday what it always does, because we have news today, we're going to get an expansion. It constrains the data on yesterday. You could see it went up, and this is the weekly wick that I calculated. So I thought, okay, it might go up into one of these wicks and then go back, but it didn't even go there. So that gives me even more excited for today. And as you can see, in the lunch session, we just futzed around in this area, and around 2 o'clock, it made a little wick above it, and then it went back into the range. So for me, that was very, a very positive thing, considering Friday being Friday and with our TGIF concept. So what I do, the monthly range will stay the same, but the weekly range, let me go to the weekly, show the weekly candle. So that is this candle here. So those are the black letters. The 20% is here, but obviously I think we're going to go up, right? We are going into this range. What I think we're going to have for a situation today is that we are going into this wick, we reject a little bit, and then either we're going to take out this weekly range, and then the TGIF comes into play, because we took out this range, and then we go into this wick and we reject somewhere in the monthly wick into, back into that blue zone. And obviously we are already overlapping, but at some point the overlap becomes smaller, and that might become what I have seen, because obviously it doesn't happen a lot of the times that you have Friday and the month end on a Friday, right? But the times that I've journaled that, and I've started using those two datas together, it was really amazing. So I hope I can. I hope we have it again today, and I'm obviously streaming again in the PM session. So I really hope that we can have it works out well, and I can. Yeah, you know, people ICT only taught us the weekly. TGIF weekly, but you know it goes to all candles have a high, low, open, close, and basically they always go back 20, 30, 40% in the range on average. Not every candle, because sometimes we have dojis and sometimes we have continuation candles, but in these areas, yeah. So the TGIF is in play, in my humble opinion. I could be wrong, obviously. But because we didn't break out of this weekly this zone, it's just keeping it down. And we've got news today. We've got a lot of news today, so I'm very excited for today. Yeah. So again, just to make sure everybody understands what I'm having on my chart. So this calculation are the quarters. So if it's a rejection block, so we consider it a gap and it's used as a rejection block, then we wanted to see it not go higher than the 50%, and then it might go back. But I just think that's one of the moves, and then we go back into the range, and then we take, I hope we're going to take this level out. It's not that high because we are already at 725 and this is 880, so 160 points. And then in the PM session, we want the retracement back into the zone. So, yeah. So how's it going, Troy? Tell me, have you been trading? How have you been doing? Did you see my, I posted the trade that I said, this is my trade for today. And I wanted to share it with you because for a specific reason, it was a losing trade for that, for the time that I did it. But did you notice that my TP, that at 4:15 when we had the news candle, where that candle exactly went to, I was a few points off. But did you notice that my TP of that losing trade that I wanted to take in the morning, that was exactly where I believe it was Nvidia earnings, that was exactly at that, I think 4 or 5 points off. Did you see that? I don't know if you noticed that, but yeah. You know, it was, sometimes timing is off and you're just too early with a specific trade. Yeah, that was one of them. But the daily objective was met at 4:15. Yeah. Okay, let me get rid of it. I don't know why that keeps on popping up all the time. So for today now for London, am I really? I am looking for a trade, but because of this whole TGIF setup, I'm like, okay, there's going to be such a good opportunities today. And the news, we have the 8:13 news candle again. I love the 8:13 news candle. Also, yesterday's news candle gave you information how far the level could go. Yes, goes back. Troy, every time you're here, I've got issues. But I love your area. I love it that you're supporting me. I'm so happy that you come by. Yeah. So I'm going to make a video on that. I think that'll be my next. I want to make more educational videos, and then I can support that maybe during the streams. Yes. So let's get back into this one here. I'm working with cleaner charts, guys, but bear with me. So I use a lot of information. So this is exactly the trade, like, you know, looks so much like similar like yesterday we had at 2 a.m. You know, you have exactly this structure. We have at 5:02, a retest of this area, and now it's running. But I don't like this price action. It's very herky-jerky. So I just don't really like to take this kind of trade at the moment, because I'm just sort of like, yeah, you know, it'll go to its objective, but it's just herky-jerky. I would rather wait until after 8:30. Let me just have a look at the... Okay, so this is the news. We have at 8:30 the core price index, and then some yellow, and then at 10 the revised consumer sentiment. Troy, from your experience, have you, I can't really recall, it's the orange folder, the 10 a.m. revised consumer sentiment. Could that, is that a news folder that can give a lot of movement? Or would you say the 8:30, I know the core price index, because it's 8:31, but I'm just wondering if you, because you have a lot of knowledge on that, could we consider the 10 a.m. as a strong news driver similar to the core price index? The reason why I'm asking is like, could the core price index be constrained, and that they wait till the 10 a.m. move for that move, or do they work in conjunction maybe with each other at some point? Okay, I want to show, let me show you guys something. I'm going to make a video on this, so hold on. Let me go to the 15. $8.15 till here we go. This is the level. So I measured the 8:15 wick here, or the 8:30 wick, I'm sorry. Did I say 8:15? Yeah, no, this is the 8:30. You measure it from 8:30 till 9, because the move, you just take the low that starts at 8:30 until the high. So just the range between 8:30 and 9. And end of day, look how, and you use a standard deviation. There are two ways to use them, but if we're in an uptrend, 2.5 is a very it's a standard deviation that we use a lot, and we'll see where it ends. And it measures with it's a confluence with another measurement that I calculate, 0.27, which is also a very important level. So sometimes when I use that and I already see we're going and we are above my 1.75, above the 2 already, I look at this level. So that was one of the reasons that I already, on my stream yesterday, I was already hesitant for a move too much to the upside at some point, because I was already looking at this 2.5. Yeah, so, and with the monthly TGIF that we were already in that range. So, yeah, the news candles, a lot of information in there. So, swing highs and swing lows are not defined by buy and selling pressure. It's people get very upset sometimes when you say that, because they really think it does, but it's not. They are created by high order, by a high frequency algorithm. And that gives the buying and selling pressure comes afterward. So that's why I don't use volume also on my charts, because the volume comes afterwards. I want to be in a candle already before it creates the volume. So that's how I try to trade. All those swing highs and swing lows are created by an algo, and they're already predefined. They're really predefined, and yeah. So it's a rabbit hole. There's a lot to learn, but yeah, and they are also they are time based, because they are created at specific times and they go back to each other at specific times. So that's why sometimes you can just, you know, get closer to predict certain areas of objectives. So yeah, so TGIF, we can predict the area. If we have a TGIF, we know where the price will go to at around 4 o'clock. So hopefully in this Friday in the PM session, we get a beautiful TGIF with the monthly and the monthly close. So let's see. But yeah, again, I've been bullish all week, and I think we're going to end bullish as well, with a nice TGIF. So we're going to have a nice bearish move into the close. I hope. But sometimes it doesn't do that. What happens if we don't get a TGIF, so we don't get the 20% range back into the zone? Well, you can expect it does it when the market opens again on Sunday evening. If we don't get the TGIF now on Friday, then you get the TGIF on in Asia. It just runs to that 20% level. Yeah. So, but we'll see. We have to just wait and play with our data. So yeah, any questions? Let me know, because I'd love to go into that. I've been journaling this for about, I think, 3 years now. And obviously there hasn't been many month-end Fridays that end on the last day. But yeah, let me know if there's more questions on it, because it looks like we're just a little bit in consolidation now. Let me grade this area. So for me today, I'm like, okay, am I going to, on a day like this, I just want the larger moves. If I'm looking right now at the price action, it's very barcoding and just we have very small candles and they're very compressed. I'm not getting interested until we have a large distribution move, either one side to the other. I would let on days like this, I would love the manipulation move, just not be bothered with it, just let it play out. Then take the distribution move either to the upside till we hit one of those rejection levels, and see what happens there. So for me, this area is an interest. So if London now is just going to trickle down or just, you know, consolidate, either this could be the manipulation move, but I would prefer the manipulation move to the downside, and then we have the distribution to this area, and then we just see what happens. That's how I would go at it. So I just need more information to have just a larger move, low risk reward, good entry, and just let it run to specific levels, and then reassess. Because how is the day going? Are we really getting a TGIF? Are we really going, or are we going lower than? And this might be the move for the end of the day, right? We don't know yet for sure. They're always trying to fool us, I guess. So we just have to see. But for now, we're still in the blue area, and that's the monthly 20 to 30% range. Let me just grade. I want to grade the monthly one. Yeah, so this is like a little bit of a a nerdy way of looking at the charts, right? Quarter one this. Let me just grade this because that can give us some information as well. So I graded the monthly zone just to see if we have any why is my phone suddenly connected to my laptop? Okay. So you see how beautifully price works its way into that zone right here, the 25%. This the 30, and then here we have the midpoint here exactly. It bounces off the midpoint, and now we're hanging around the 75% of that zone. So today, when we get the 8:13 news candle, I'm obviously going to use that in my analysis for to calculate certain moves, and also when one move goes to the upside and it uses a certain range, you can flip it to the other side, because then a lot of the times what happens with that range, it just goes exactly the same way to the downside from that candle. Yeah, but I want to make a video on that with more examples to make it clear, because it's just, you know, there are certain ways to look at it and to calculate it. But yeah, it helped me a lot in my trading, and especially on news days, like, whew, yeah. So ICT doesn't teach us 1/3, it only uses quarters, but I do use 1/3 because they have given me such a good, I can show you, I think it was a 4 hour on this one. Let me get back to that. It was this one here. There we go. Where was that one? I took it off, but it was so, oh, here it is. Or was it this one for the upside? So how would I know whether I could go to the upside? Okay, so this rejection, this wick here. So let me just put it here. So it went just below the 5%, 50%, and then we had a move up. This is how I calculated. Yeah. So what you do normally, what really helps. So when you have like another wick, you just make the wick smaller, and then you see how it bounced off the 25% here. But I had a trade, it was exactly, I can't remember where it was. I have it on my journals. It went exactly to, yeah, I take it off at some point, but yeah. How does the rejection block work? So have you studied the Judas swing idea that ICT teaches? Yeah, Judas swing is basically the AMD So you have accumulation, and then the Judas swing is basically the manipulation move, and then you get the distribution move to the upside. It's basically AMD. So yeah, but sometimes we get the Judas swing pre-market, or sometimes it's even the London session. Yeah, the rejection block. So how do you use the rejection block? So wicks are considered to be gaps, right? And wicks are manipulation moves, but I use the wicks a lot, and especially if you have a wick like this, and especially on the higher time frame. Let me use the 4 hour just to make things a little bit clearer, so we can see more what's happening. So let's, for example, say we are here in this zone. This is not printed yet. What I always do, I'm like, okay, because we consider highs and lows liquidity points, right? Especially when they are equal at some point. So here you have a low and here. But because it's such a large wick on the 4 hour, I do take the higher time frame in consideration, the weekly and the daily, but let's keep it for the 4 hour now. Because the higher the wick is, because on the monthly now as well, you know, we're using those information for the TGIF, the monthly, the weekly, and we dribble down to lower time frame. So for example here, this has not been printed, this candle. So we're in the 4 hour, we see this wick is coming, and the next candle opens. Then I'm already looking at both wicks here. We've got one at the top and we've got one at the bottom. So I measure this and I use 1/4, 1/3 because I want to look how far it's going to go. So, well, if you see a wick, if it's going to be a rejection block, is that you want to see reject on the 50% or on a little bit above. So then in that case, it will be 1/3. So in this case, you see it went exactly to the 50%, right? So you already know, or it's let's say highly probable, because we never know 100%, right? They can always go further down or just go up into, on the lower time frame, there might be a bearish fair value gap. But when you see this and it's 50%, and you go to the other lower time frame, and you can frame your long from here. You just find a good entry on the lower time frame because it's 50%. So in that case, you are like, okay, it's now still a rejection block. Once it has worked as a rejection block, it's not longer a rejection block. Then you can start considering this as liquidity to be taken out at some point. It gets a little bit tricky here because here we don't have any, in this rejection, this is not a rejection block because there's no data that has gone into it, right? But this was enough for the move. The continuation move was from this rejection block. So that means if you have this 4 hour candle and you can see nothing is going in this, that's why I was so bullish for this week. No rejection block here. We're already in a continuation move because this candle didn't even go into this one. So so rejection blocks are basically wicks, larger wicks, and the better they get on the higher time frame. Let me go back to the other one on the monthly. So now let's take it all the way from the monthly to the weekly. So obviously this month is still printing, right? So I did calculate it already because we cannot go over it, or we can go over it obviously, but I just wanted to know what is the 20, 30, 40% of this zone. Because when we don't get the full, if we're not going to take out the monthly range, this wick, let's say the monthly candle It's going to end somewhere. The wick might be here and then we go back down, for example. If we don't get a continuation, let me see. We already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 monthly continuations. Okay. I consider this wick then a rejection block on the monthly, and then I would like for example, if we get the manipulation move of the next month candle, I would like to see that first month, the first 2 weeks, move into the up into the wick, to the 50% wick, and then reject from there. So that helps me to frame maybe the first 2 weeks of the month. If we are going to have a down close candle, if there's no continuation, then I use that wick and I measure it to see, okay, how is price behaving into this week? So let's go to the weekly. So now I am using this wick here because we are in this week right now, right? So obviously you can see this week rejected here in this week. So and then we had them move down. It didn't even get to 50%, right? So now I'm using this wick as a rejection. I want to see the rejection or not. It could that we are just going to take this weekly high and then go back into the range. So that's why I have this mark now to just see how price is behaving. Are we rejecting, or are we just blowing through this wick and just using, then we go back to this larger wick because we haven't met the 50%. So this candle, this wick rejected from a 1/3 probably. So we still have a 50% of this wick still waiting. Yeah. So the moment we start blowing through this, then I will measure, I will take my measurement and then measure this wick later today. That's probably what I'm going to do. But once we take this one out, I want to see how far we go into this wick. I wonder if we are going to take out this level today, but it just doesn't seem likely to me. I would think we are just going to reject somewhere in this area, but I could be wrong, because it's not really that many. It's just 200 points. We're at 250 points. So that's why I'm going to look in this area all the time and look. I'm going to take the rejection block into consideration to figure out if we're going to move higher. So once we move over 50% of this wick, hell yeah, then we're going to go to the top, right? So that's how I look at price action during the day on days like this, to just keep on track how price is behaving. So yeah, this is in play for me all day, these 2 wicks calculating. So, but because we're still here, I'm just looking at this one for now. And if we reject from 0.5, okay, good. That's but the moment we start going over this, I am going to calculate this one again. Yeah. So that's a rejection block. That's a very simplified rejection block. But I mean, hey, they help me a lot in my trading and to see how moves are going, where and it creates the swing highs and lows as well, right? Because it rejects from it, it reverses from it. So that's where you get the intermediate swing high and low points from. And then they become liquidity. So then you know, okay, we're going to go, the rejection block has done its job. Then the top or the bottom becomes the liquidity points, which will price will run to. Yeah. I love it. I love it that it's manipulated and that we can really find edges because of the calculations. And you see how they really run into those levels, right? I mean, it cannot be buying and selling pressure if it always goes exactly to the 0.5, 0.3 levels. Okay, let's see. So my, let me go to the 15 just to show you as well. Yeah. So the black line here, this is the weekly, the calculation of the weekly 20, 30, and 40% level. And what happens a lot before movement comes, you see a lot of consolidation and time distortion on those levels. So because we're now at the 20% level of the weekly range, let me show the weekly candle again. It's a little bit complicated just to just. So you see the weekly candle already is retracing back into the range, right? Why is my, yeah. I calculated wrong one. It's a different one. Okay. You see we have a large wick here as well, right, on the downside. Let me just go. Talking about a really large rejection block. Let's go to this one here. You see this one? So we moved into the 33% area here, and then we went back up. Now, could we go back further to this area first? And then reject to the upside. So it's a little bit tricky now. If I look at this, I'm like, okay. I'm still very bullish, don't get me wrong. But could we go to the downside first? To this area, 311. So yeah, so I'm using both of them now. So I'm just going to look into. So you see the weekly candle now is getting to the 20 and 23. So are we going to get a bearish candle now at the end of the day? That will be, because sometimes it already, TGIF doesn't have to happen on Friday, right? It could also happen already on Thursday, or in London or in the AM session. But we didn't take out this weekly high. But we did take a daily high, right? So yesterday, we took out Wednesday's high. But look at this liquidity. We don't want this liquidity to be staying here. So this liquidity is just sort of like, so. So when I see that only 1/3 of a rejection block has been met, I'm always keeping in mind, okay, we still have maybe room to go to the downside. It doesn't have to. It's enough for the move to be made to the upside, right? But yeah, we still have the 50% here. Okay, so let's see. I don't think we're going to get really a good price action in London today because of the news that's coming. I think there's going to be larger moves later today. We'll just stick around just for fun, right? Yeah, looks like we're just going a little bit more to the downside for now. Yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want me to go over. So you asked about the Judas swing. Is that for a specific reason? Do you use them, Troy? I didn't know you used them actually. Do you incorporate them in your trading, the Judas swing? Oh, TJ, TJ, so you're not Troy. I thought okay. Troy is I know he is 1-to-1, but I thought I asked last time. I said, hey, are you do you have two names? Did you just change your name? Because his last name starts with a with J. So I thought that Troy, that was Troy. So I asked and I thought, okay, no, I'm happy that you're here. No, really, ask me anything, because that's why I'm here, and I would love to help people speed up their. That's why the ICT, because he was never into ICT. That's sort of like, how did you go into the Judas swing? So you've been studying ICT, and are you using PD arrays already? Some specific ones that you like to use, or are you just started with studying ICT? Thanks for letting me know, because I thought at some point I thought, oh, okay, Troy goes under two accounts, and sometimes he logs in with the other one, and the other one with the one that has his own name, TJ, because that's basically his initials. So yeah. But is it clear for the rejection? Yeah, I like the FEG, IFEG, and the OP. Yeah, I love the inversions as well, and order blocks. And I use the breaker block a lot as well. I love the breakers in combination with the IFEGs. Those work pretty well. Have you traded the TGIF also? Are you looking at that data as well? The TGIF, the OHLC, open, high, low, close, and the weekly ranges as well. I love it. Breaker is actually one of my favorite, because it just gives you so much. It's actually really an extra confirmation, right, on the trade. I'm actually working. I'm trying to improve my trading by getting actually sooner in than normally I would. For me, it's the breaker retest. It's the safest place trade there is. But I'm actually working now, trying to get on into trades before that moment. So that's more into the inversion, when the inversion just created itself and we have a close. So I'm really trying to improve that. But on stream, I think I want to be a little bit more. It has to be very high probable trades if you have more people on stream as well. I don't want to take obviously the risk reward is very good when you get into a IFGG trade, right? Because you have a very low, you just go up below the candle and then the rest is just the move. But I'm studying PDOAs on height and looking for them to appear in the low. Yeah, exactly. But does this information help you about the monthly, which I used to already look at how candles are forming and the range? So I also, when it's Wednesday, I start looking at weekly profiles as well. So for this week, this is Monday, right? Here, we've got a Tuesday low. So let me draw the weekly profile. Where is my drawing? So this week, we've got Monday. Then we had and it never does this with me. Okay, I've just got to do it a different way. Let me just do it this way. Then we have Tuesday low. Then we head. Not working. Wednesday and Thursday. And what do we get on this weekly profile? Most of the times, TGIF back into the range. Yeah. So when it was Wednesday, I wasn't sure about this one yet. So we also have another weekly profile that gives a Wednesday. So we have a Monday and then Tuesday low, Wednesday high, and then we just go back down. But we didn't get that. So on Wednesday, so then you get this. This is like another profile, right? But now, considering that we have this beautiful liquidity here, I'm very excited about. So the weekly profile that was this one. This one. So because we had Monday, Tuesday low, we did have a Wednesday high. So I was looking like, okay, are we going to reject from the Wednesday high, go back into the range? But we did not. We had a Tuesday high as well. See? So now we have this Tuesday, Wednesday high here, Tuesday high here, just it's not as exact. And then the weekly profile states this move, and that's the TGIF move. Yeah, because we have this expansion, right? Technically we have, you can see it here, Monday, Tuesday low, Wednesday high, and then we got the expansion date on Thursday. But what I want to see, the TGF is not technically, yes, we are hanging around that zone, but that's the black cloud. This is the weekly TGIF and this is the monthly TGIF I calculated. So why was I was quite sure yesterday that because we were futzing around at this top that we were not going to move much higher because we got news on Friday. So I was like, okay, you know what? We're going back into the zone a little bit and then we're going to take out highs again because it didn't make sense for it to do everything yesterday. Because the weekly objective is still in play, but it's not going to give it away altogether. So that's why I'm expecting. That's why price action now is for me like, you know what? Because if we get a TGIF, it's going to be a really, really nice day to the upside and to the downside. So I'm very excited. This candle here, the daily, we want that to be broken. This calculation that I made, that was the rejection block on the weekly, remember? So what I want to see is how are we going to, if we break a daily high, how are we going to behave in this weekly candle, in this wick? Are we going to reject from it or are we going to break it? We could just reject from it just for a small retracement and go back up to it. And like I said, then I am going to look at how are we going to react into this wick. Are we going to reject from the midpoint again, go back? Are we going to get the TGIF from the midpoint here? So obviously we want to know where are we going to reject from. So that's how I, obviously when we get the news candle, yeah, you can use the weekly profile, but we are already, it's high probable, right? Because it's already formed until here somewhere. So, but then again, nothing is 100%. So keep that in mind, right? Keep in mind that, let me just get everything off. Just keep in mind, like if we start retracing, where are we going to retrace from? Once we broke a high, a daily high or a weekly high, it could be done, but you just want to have a look at these measurements and see how it's rejecting or how it's behaving in this weekly candle. And once we blast through this, you know, okay, then your endpoint is either going to be in this candle somewhere, or it's going to go even higher. It could be. But then, you know, we have other calculations we're going to use just to see how they level up. Yeah. I hope this helps. And are you, I was doing a PM session. Will you join me in the PM session, or are you in a time zone that you're not able, you're sleeping or elsewhere maybe? Because I hope in the PM session, things will work out and I can really, you know, get into things and teach some people some tricks that I happen to, yeah, I think I just, you know, by journaling and just looking at it, back testing it, figured out, or especially on days like this, when the month and the weekly line up together. Yeah. I guess most people are interested in trading right now. So we'll look at a trade, but yeah, I'm just not interested at this moment because of the potential that is setting up for later, in all honesty. But I know people want, you know, when you're on stream, obviously, and I understand that. I understand. So we'll try to, if it's a really good trade, obviously. Oh, you will? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll try to be as specific during the session. So if it's being watched afterwards, that it can be easy to rewatch. Maybe I'll try to timestamp it, and if there's some specific, I'll make a short of the specific, especially if I go over the TGIF and the news candle. So that will help you. Yeah. So how long have you been studying ICT? Do you agree with me on the weekly profile, how it's formed, and it's high probable that we're going to get that move, right? Considering the profile and other things that are lining up. And you see now as well that how we are rejecting of the 20% move. So actually, we can consider this maybe a long from here. But let me just have a... About 1 year, yeah. Well, that's a good start. So yeah, the core, I did the core content actually twice, and then I must be honest that sometimes when I want to have a refresher, I love T Trades. His YouTube channel has awesome videos about PD arrays. I can highly recommend if you haven't watched T Trades. You know, sometimes ICT is just very long, and I do believe you have to go through them once just to have it, you go back to the basics. But then once you have done it and you want a refresher, I think T-Trades has, I think, the best educational YouTube channel to learn from. And it's very compact. They're not long, but they go into depth actually pretty well. So if you haven't discovered him, just really use T-Trades as well as extra. Yeah. So where do you live? I'm going to call you TJ. Where are you from? Yes, T-Trades, really, I can highly recommend him. And New Zealand, wow, that's nice. I've traveled a lot, but I haven't been to that area. I haven't been to Australia, New Zealand. It's still my bucket list. I think New Zealand even more than Australia because of the nature. Yeah. So this screen, I use a specific indicator for my time-based analysis. I don't go too much over it because I know people are not, if it's just not that interesting if they're using it, but it helps me a lot. And also on the higher time frame, I use it on, let me see, is it here? Oh, I need to figure that out. Here it is, yeah. So for example, these are root candles. And you see here, yesterday we rejected, they're both beautiful, but I'm sort of like, I can't maybe do both at the first time. And for me, it's just also, I know Australia has a lot of beautiful nature as well, obviously. But for me also, it was why I was hesitant, like, why are we not going further? Because we had this root candle here on the weekly, and we just tapped into it yesterday. So that's how these indicators help me. And the weekly profile, we have an AMRP level on this area. So that also gives me confidence, like these are calculated levels and volatility grid zones. So it calculates how big a move on basis of past moves, how it has done in the past. And like, say, for example, we are in the Icarus move until Sunday 6 o'clock, so obviously till Friday. And normally the average range is 523 points, but we only have done 369. So we still have some room to go, but obviously it can extend. And like I said, this is too juicy just to be not taken, right? So we could extend all the way up to here, even though the gray box is here. Yeah. So look at this. Isn't this just the most beautiful market maker buy model, right? Yeah. And this is so I'm talking about the breaker. Now this is a little bit confusing here because you have a body here and there's no bodies here. So would you consider this being the bullish breaker, right? I would not, because there is no body close. So then I would look at this one here, and You've got a beautiful busy here. You always have to look, if you have a situation like this, right? You always look at the swing highs and lows that have been formed before this big candle, and you see the highest point is here. And if you consider this being the breaker, you can see the wick, it did not touch this wick. So this is technically, it doesn't have to, if it's a breakaway gap, right? If this is the breakaway gap, we want a measuring gap. So do we have a measuring? Let's go a little bit lower to see. Then we can calculate maybe the move. So if this is the breakaway gap, we don't even have a measuring gap yet. Yeah, we don't even have a measuring gap yet, I think, but we'll see. I mean, it's, or is this the one here? Measuring gap? No. This is breakaway. This is the breakaway. If that's the case, then we are going to get a really, that will be really a large move to the upside. But okay, let's say we make the measuring gap. I'm going to try something. Hold on, bear with me. It's just nothing is based on anything yet, because I might be totally wrong. Let's see, we get it here, 24,458. What if this is the measuring gap? Okay. Okay, I can't really, I'm just forget about that. Do you look at them for mitigation block? You know, that's the only thing that I do actually, but I tend to use those the least, but obviously they are very valuable. But I don't. I'm going to. I need to look more into that. But do you use them a lot? Yeah. So mitigation blocks are basically failure swings, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think um, I'm not expecting too much as well in this range, because you can see they compressed the AMRP levels as well, so it's not going to give a large of expansion in this move. So I think this London is just yeah, sometimes you have the larger move at 4ish, but then again we've got the news candles coming, so I think I'm going to leave it for this session here, because we're not going to get a lot of moves. Is there something else you want me to go over, TJ? It's very quiet now anyway. And that's a good thing when you just start, right? You have a very small group, and I love it because it's very personal and you can go over things and stuff like that. So let me know if there's something you want me to go over, something specific. Should be fine. Oh, so what time is it now in New Zealand? You're very far ahead, right? I always watch the Australian Open and the tennis. I love that, but then I always get sort of jet lagged because I sort of like yeah, it starts in the afternoon here, and then obviously it's all I hardly sleep then because I just love watching 7:20 p.m. Okay, so you are about to go to bed at some point, yeah. Hey, SMC Charter, hello, how are you? I was just at the end of the stream. How's it going? I missed you a few days. Thank you, TJ, for hanging out, and I appreciate the questions and chatting, and for the yeah, being active on the chat. You know, it's really, I really like the people that are coming in and really are actively involved. I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. How's it going? Was busy away from the screens. Yeah, life gets in the way. Sometimes we need to, right? So, Kira, I'm looking. Bye, TJ. I hope to see you soon again. Probably it will be Monday is a bank holiday, so it will be Tuesday. Oh no, I might do Monday London, by the way. Yeah. So yeah, I did catch. It was a good week, but I'm looking at the TGIF, and what I'm looking at is the monthly. Sorry, I need a drink. So, hold on. I'm very excited. I didn't take any trades for London because I'm waiting. I'm very excited about the coming TGIF. So the blue zone is already the monthly, the range, the 20, 30, and 40%. And the weekly profile, obviously we had Tuesday low, a Wednesday high, and also a Thursday high. So what do we get most of the times? We get a retracement right back into the zone. So I'm quite excited for the moves that are coming. And like I'm looking at this weekly wick to see how far we're getting into this wick. So if we take out this high, from what moment are we going to start to retrace? Obviously there will be more data. And yeah, I love the news candle, the 8:30 candle. I calculate a lot from it, and I've got a few this week. My 10-4 model played out a couple of times. Yeah, I had a pretty good trades and pretty good calculations. But for today, I'm just going to wait for the 8:30 candle, and then look into how far are we going into the weekly range, monthly range, and you know what I like about this monthly, when we have a month and a week TGIF lining up, last day of the month, last week of the month. You know, at some point the weekly range is most likely going to expand, and then when you get the retracement, you calculate where the 20, 30, 40, and then you want it to end up in the monthly, and you get a very small zone at some point. So yeah, so I'm waiting for that. So no more trade. I'm just not interested in London now because of the coming moves. But that's my yeah. So you know, it's just chopping around now. How about you? What did you do? Did you were you off? You were not on. So you were busy, right? So no trading for you. See, and also I'm looking at my indicator. It's just, you know, the zones are. We most likely will probably can go down to this zone, but you know, I'm not interested in those small moves now. I just want to save my. I'm looking for the large expansion moves today, so I'm going to be patient. Yeah. Yeah, see, this herky-jerky, we just have to be patient. And because of the 8:30 news and the 10 o'clock news, I'm just sort of like, will it give us a pre-market move maybe as well? I don't think so. And also, you know, we can get good moves at 4 o'clock as well. But yeah, I'm not holding I'm just going to touch some grass now and just wait for it to move out of the zone and take some highs. What do you think? You think we're going to get a nice TGIF today? Okay, well, I think I'm going to leave it at here. I just want to touch some grass, and yeah, I hope to see some of you back later today. I know time zone wise, the people that come in London, it's hard to come into pre-market or vice versa. But yeah, thank you so much for joining and, you know, being very active in the chat, and I appreciate it. And I hope to see you soon. And for now, just enjoy your day and touch some grass and just enjoy. And I'll see you later. Bye bye.